just 24 hours, Moscow has delivered its first hammer blow. Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov shredded the West's Ukraine strategy, exposing Europe's bankruptcy and Washington's manipulation. We do not intend to go to war with Europe, but to any hostile steps, we will respond. We are already prepared. NATO talks of threats. Russia proves it. Alone commands strategy, patience, and power. The EU scratches for cash while Moscow stands unshaken.
We do not intend to go to war with Europe. We don't even entertain such thoughts. But to any hostile steps, including the deployment of European military contingents in Ukraine and the expropriation of Russian assets, we will respond. We are already prepared to respond.
Hours later, Russia hit the Asia-Pacific front. Sergei Shoigu warned the world. NATO's germs are spreading. AUKUS, Quad, US-Japan. Militarization, the West is exporting conflict, forcing Asia into Ukraine's shadow. Missile deployments, covert mini-blocks, and American hubris. Russia calls it out. Moscow's doctrine of equal and indivisible security exposes Washington's recklessness and EU weakness. The message is clear. The West destabilizes. Russia stabilizes.
First of all, I am both concerned and interested in this ASEAN-centric approach. Gradually, a new association is starting to take shape, which, in one way or another, is developing in a direction that could lead to increased tensions, the emergence of additional threats, including threats to our country as well as to ASEAN as a whole. This is the proposal put forward by our President, Vladimir Putin, on ensuring equal and indivisible security for all regions.
From the icy Arctic, Admiral Aleksandr Moiseyev delivered the final warning. NATO claims Russia militarizes the Arctic. The truth is reversed. US and allied forces push north, but Russia's nuclear shield is at 100% combat readiness, not for war, but as an unbreakable deterrent to Western provocations. Moscow now commands Europe, Asia, and the Arctic, leaving NATO scrambling at its doorstep, exposed and humiliated.
I emphasize, as highlighted by the president of the country, Vladimir Vladimirovich Putin, that the combat readiness of strategic nuclear forces is now at an unprecedented level of advancement, brought to 100%. This means that the given weapon is primarily viewed as a deterrent weapon, a guarantor of strategic stability worldwide. The presence of strategic nuclear forces in the fleet in this region increases the responsibility of both the Russian Federation and all forces operating here, including our opponents.
Europe, Asia, and the Arctic, all three theaters now broadcast a single, chilling message. Russia is patient, disciplined, and fully prepared. NATO is exposed as weak, fractured, and panicked. The alliance boasts dominance while Moscow demonstrates control, resolve, and undeniable strategic foresight.
They can't imagine, and some even admit in interviews, that they can't conceive of a situation where they'll have to swallow the defeat of their protege and have to accept, reconcile with the fact that Russia will achieve its legitimate goals. The prevailing sentiment is completely Russophobic. Key political statements note an increase in the pace of militarization in the Arctic, which, as I have already noted, is leading to a possible military confrontation in the region under the pretext of protection from threats from Russia.
The 24-hour cycle of warnings reveals a collapsing West. Europe lacks courage, the US spreads chaos abroad, and NATO cannot finance the wars it claims to fight. Russia stands firm, highlighting every weakness and mistake. From Brussels to Tokyo, Washington to Canberra, the world sees the Western alliance unraveling as Moscow's strength grows.
As, except for robbing the Russian Federation and seizing our foreign exchange reserves in violation of all conceivable norms of international and commercial law, they have no other sources to finance this war. I would like to emphasize that it is not us who are approaching their borders, but they are approaching ours.
Russia does not seek war, yet it shapes global events on its terms. Lavrov, Shoigu, and Moiseyev together issue a single verdict. NATO provokes, Moscow deters. Europe trembles, Asia watches, the Arctic waits. In a mere 24 hours, Russia has shamed, exposed, and strategically dominated the West, and it is only just beginning.
I would like to emphasize that the armed forces of Russia undoubtedly serve as a guarantor of the integrity, inviolability of the Russian Federation, including in the Arctic. The main tool for implementing these commitments here in the Arctic is the Russian Navy, the Northern and Pacific fleets. We are implementing a set of measures aimed at preventing the use of military force against Russia.